Hey folks, Syed Musa Kaleem here from Epicop, and in this video I would like to show you nested object destructuring in JavaScript, and also I would like to show you the nested array destructuring as well. So basically we can see how we can destructure the long objects and how we can retrieve a particular and a specific value from an object. So here I have created two functions. So what I'm going to show you is destructuring of objects, destructuring of arrays, nested object destructuring, nested array destructuring, and the destructuring and renaming of objects as well while retrieving the value. So I have created one function called make item. Here you can see here it returns an object that is a data object, and here inside this data object we have one more object called item, and inside this item we have two properties called name and size, and size is again an object. Size is also an object inside the item parent object. So we have two different properties called US and EU inside the size object. So this is actually a nested object. So now I would like to show you how you can destructure this object, this nested object, and how you can retrieve a specific value from this object. So the basic method of retrieving a value from an object is by creating an instance of an object, right? By creating an instance of the function. So let's remove these all lines from here. Const response equals to make item, our function. So this is an instance which we are creating. Right, what if I want the data from the response, right? Response.data. And if I want the status object, status property from the response, I would like to use this response.status. But before that I would like to show you the output of this result object, response. So let's save it. Let's save it and let's see one more time. We have two different objects inside this function, data and status, and inside data we have sub objects as well, nested objects as well. So we are console logging this response here, and we can see the preview here. You can see here we got two objects from the response, data and status. If we open this, we can see here the item, name, and the size object as well. But what if I want the particular object from this return statement, from that function? So I would like to use this statements, data and status, so that I can display inside the console, right? Const data response.data, save it. So it will console log, this console log statement will only show the data object. You can see here item and parent size as well. So we have to write these three lines for calling for retrieving two different objects, but I want to retrieve it in one line. So for that let's remove this and let's create data comma status, right? So using these two things we can, using these two objects we can retrieve the data, right? I would like to use the curly braces here for displaying these two objects of the response. Save it and let's see the preview. Yeah, you can see here we are getting data and status as well. This is just a simple way. We are not using we are not destructuring the object yet, but soon we will see how we can destructure the object and array as well in this video. So this is the simple way of retrieving two objects from this make item function, because it returns two objects, data and status. So now what I would like to show you is how we can destructure the object, right? So here you can see that I want only data item. So I can see I can use the status. If I want the status object from the from an make item function, so that I can alert it here, status, right? So it alerts the in stock because it contains in stock in status, right? Here I want the data item. I want data item, but I want only this item, right? So we can destructure this data into an item, and we can console.log the data. So let's see the error first, right? I have destructured here. The nested object destructuring starts here. This data object contains this item object, this nested object, and I want this item nested object from this data object. So I have destructured here using this colon and these brackets, these curly brackets. Now I want to display this item here, but I am displaying the data item. Let's see the error first. If I refresh this, then you can see here unexpected uncaught reference error, data is not defined. Obviously we have changed the data object to the item object. Now it becomes item. We cannot access or we cannot retrieve the value of data. This is the way how we can destructure the object in JavaScript. So this is one of the best parts of ES6 which I really like, and which I personally think that is wonderful about ES6. You can see here I have console log the item nested object, and I got the output inside the console, name, pants, size, and US. You can see here, but I want the name property of nested item object. So here we can further destructure as much as you want. If you go deep, then you can destructure the items, then you can destructure the objects and arrays as well in JavaScript. This is the beauty of ES6. I want the name of the item, right? If I console log if I want to display this item, we cannot. Again it gives the same error. I have to use this name here. Sorry, I have to save this, refresh it. You can see here the pants. When you scroll up, you can see the item, this nested object item has the property called name, right? I want the size as well along with the name. So for that we need to use this size, comma size, right? And I would like to display this size as well. So for this we need to use curly braces, comma size. So let's save it and let's see the preview inside the browser. You can see here it looks wonderful. The name is appearing and the size is appearing. Again the size is also a nested object, so that we can destructure it further. It looks beautiful. So let's go ahead and destructure the object. So let's destructure the size object, nested object further, and let's say US comma EU, right? Save it. Now we cannot display the console, or we cannot display, or we cannot also log the size object because it is no more present inside our response. So let's save it and let's try to display it. Again we got the same error. We can display it US comma EU, right? Let's save it, and you can see here the name is appearing pants, and EU is 34 and US is 32, right? And let me show you the quick thing about renaming inside the destructuring of objects. This is the beauty of ES6. Again, you can rename the objects right easily without having any problem or without thinking much about it, right? What if you want to name this US property to something called normal, and if you want to rename this EU property of the size object to something called difficult, right? So you can rename it easily. So US and EU properties are no more available in this response. Let's save it and let's try to retrieve the value. Again, you can see here US is not defined. It is now normal. US becomes normal and EU becomes difficult. Yes, you can see here when I refresh it, it gives this exact result. Name pants, normal 32, difficult 34. Yeah, you can see here. So this is the beauty of ES6. This is the beauty of JavaScript. You can rename it, you can destructure it, you can do everything you want, right? So let's head over to the array items, right? What if you want to destructure the array, right? So we can see here, let me create one variable for this array of items. Is a function. It returns an object, this data object, and again this data object consists one items array, and also we have one more object called status, out of stock, right? So let's console.log the same thing which I have shown you above before starting destructuring the objects in ES6. So let's console.log the response. You can see here the data and the status here. Again, data consists of items. We have two items, right? So I want this data comma status, and I would like to destructure the data object into an item, right? So I want this item, right? Items. So I want to display these items first here inside this console.log statement. I hope you are really enjoying this video, and I hope you are getting my points, what I am trying to explain you here. We have two items here. You can see here this first object is t-shirt with the price is 100, right? Again, we have two items, so I want this item 1 comma item 2. I want to display the first item here. Oh no, it is not showing me because I was doing wrong. I was missing one thing here, because we cannot destructure arrays as we have destructured objects. The syntax is different. So for this, for destructuring arrays, you need to use the curly braces, right? Item 1 comma item 2. This is the beauty of array destructuring in JavaScript. So here I would like to display the item 1 first. Yeah, you can see here the name t-shirt and the price 100. What if you want the two items in the same console.log statement? So for that we need to use curly braces, item 1 comma item 2. It is simple, it is very simple. Yeah, you can see here the item 1 and the item 2 in the same object. So this way you can destructure the items of an array, and this way you can destructure the objects and the properties. So hope you really enjoy this video and hope you like this video. And if you don't know about array destructuring and object destructuring in JavaScript, you can head over to some docs and you can read more about it so that you can understand easily, because it is difficult to understand for beginners. I can understand it is something different, so we need to practice it for understanding more about destructuring of objects and arrays in JavaScript. So if you really like this video, give this video a big thumbs up and like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe my channel to stay up to date for my videos about latest web technologies. Thanks for watching this video. Please share this video with your friends. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.